Greetings, Lightworkers. It is my pleasure to be with you in these moments. I am Master Thoth. The universal law of perpetual transmutation of energy states that all persons have within them the power to change the conditions in their lives. Higher vibrations consume and transform lower ones. Thus, each of us can change the energies in our lives by understanding the universal laws and applying the principles in such a way as to effect change. In the world today, the element of going through changes is a constant experience for all souls. No one can go through life without the effect of movement, which can either be in a backwards-downward spiral effect or an upwards increase of vibrational energies. Change is constant and will never stagnate unless an individual allows that non-movement to occur within their consciousness. One example of this may be someone who truly does not desire to experience any elements outside of their current conditions, which causes one to stagnate in their personal existence. This is when the element of change can be very challenging and almost debilitating to that individual. Within the law of perpetual transmutation of energies, each initiate is given the opportunity to grow deeper within their own standard of existence. The choice is up to them. They can either downward spiral or choose to go in the opposite direction of their divine purpose. As is always the case, the later laws still fall upon the elements of the previous laws. This is especially true with the law of vibration, with perpetual transmutation of energies. We have to think of the term, as above, so below, as below, so above. In any given moment, an individual can move from either of those polar opposites to grow into oneness. One cannot be defined without the other. It is the same truth of the dark shadows, the light, and the light illuminates the dark. So within this law, we truly learn how to experience life in a continual movement of increased awareness to allow the energies to come into the focus of oneness, which again relates to the first universal law. This is especially true with the mastery pathway when an initiate chooses to become the focus within their life, to make the necessary changes not from the tried and true method of the physical world, but within the absolute energies of the higher realms of light, in which they are a part of in all aspects of their higher awareness. Without this understanding within their consciousness, they cannot achieve their highest desires, as they will be constantly reworking their karma in a completely indifferent direction than the soul essence truly wants them to experience. When an initiate becomes aware of the universal laws, then those laws work through them. It does not matter if they are consciously aware of them or not. Each of the initiations are elements represented by the universal laws. When a person truly abides by these rules, then they are fully stepping into mastery. That is why the initiations are set up as they are. It is a true statement of how an initiate is going to work through their issues, to understand how to accept the change that they need to go through in the mastery pathway. It has always been a tried and true method of soul advancement. The key element is for an initiate to truly see who they are in a variety of situations. This is where the law of perpetual transmutation of energies works. It allows an individual to see the highs and lows of their vibrational consciousness. The key is to realize when it is a high and when it is a low, to allow them to come into oneness. Without the ability to fully realize the potential within their experience, the lesson will be lost. And this is when the experience is felt again and again, until that individual can stop the seesaw effect to see that the true cause of their pain is truly within their own consciousness, their karmic contracts, and how the emotional and mental bodies will react in those specific cases. This is why this law can be very challenging for many initiates, as they have not done the inner work on the ground level. The emotional and mental bodies, second and third initiations, must be addressed when an individual is standing within those levels of awareness and lessons of mastery. What happens when an initiate does not go to the inner depths in those beginning levels? They then will have a very difficult time when they reach the fourth initiation. And sometimes, a person will fall back in the lower initiations, only because the physical self cannot handle the lesson that is given to them. The higher self may have thought they were ready, but when the true test is experienced by the soul, then there may be elements of fear, insecurity, or just not being honest with themselves through the process. In actuality, when this does happen, the initiate is in a better position to know how to circumvent the problem when it arises again. You see, each individual must be prepared for the higher realms. It depends upon the lower self, or the physical mind and heart, on how it is going to be acknowledged within that person. Sometimes the backwards movement can just be a sub-level within an initiation. It does not mean that person will drop into the lower initiation. We have to remember that there are 7 sub-levels within each initiation where the lessons are experienced. The reason I share this background information is to let you know that the law of perpetual transmutation of energy is just the movement through the initiations which comprise the tests and lessons to be acknowledged. If an initiate does not have the ability to see their truth, the moments of when they are put in situations that are challenging and not able to move through those difficult times, then they cannot acknowledge within themselves who they are becoming. It becomes a mirror effect of feeling as if your mind is clouded from the true view of what is occurring. This is why many initiates become irate and angry when they are challenged with mentors, teachers, others that challenge them, or just allow their lower ego to run their full existence. Realizing within yourself that you need to change, you need to be honest, and to look at the truth inside is the most humbling act that an initiate can bring unto themselves. It is truly a moment of time in which full realization is acknowledged within the initiate through the thoughts and the feelings of that an individual can go through. It is a freeing moment of allowing the lower forms of energy to move into the higher existence. This is true oneness. It is the ability to move through the transmutation of energies. It is fully allowing the true self of the higher self combined within the physical self to become one. The truth is revealed. The issue can be healed when you move through that doorway that was stopping you previously. You can then find the freedom you desire. You will become the alchemist, the healer, the evolved being of light. Please know that this process is a transition of understanding the higher essence that you are within the physical self, to become and accept the transformation that needs to occur. Allow others to help you. Understand that you will know the full truth when you accept that you don't have all the answers. We all learn from each other in each moment. I learn from all of you every moment, so that I can understand what it is like for each of you at this time on the earth. All I can do is assist you to know it from the highest source of light, and then you become that light. We are not only observing, but are also experiencing with you the tremendous onslaught of energies you are feeling and seeing the results of in many situations in your world, as well as in your own lives. Understand that things will not always be so overwhelming, so taxing and tiring, and so confusing as they feel to be at present. You are seeing the establishing of a higher frequency as the base frequency of your earth, a new earth, with all the expressions of freedom, equality, abundance, and creativity that you could imagine a fifth-dimensional planet experiencing. From this new base frequency, increasingly higher frequencies of consciousness, wisdom, and understanding will continue to come forward, birthing new fifth-dimensional forms and experiences on your planet that were once only the stuff of science fiction. And we would say that though you may feel impatient at all the shifts and disturbances you are experiencing now, in Earth herself and in your own bodies, hearts, and minds, you nevertheless are holding now a frequency of higher light that you could not have withstood even 1 year ago. This means no less than the fact that you are becoming the light beings you already are in the higher realms. But you are moving into that new form from the lowest form most of you have ever inhabited, the carbon molecular structure and very limited consciousness of the third-dimensional human. Have you noted increased sightings of ships around the world and increasingly felt the presence of your galactic family at your side? None of this is your imagining, and none of it can be chalked up purely to doctored photos or CGI or Photoshop or one of the other many left-brain qualifications for that which the ego mind is too terrified to admit to itself. And that ego mind, that part of your Earth self that has been controlled for eons by the dark matrix that once operated freely on this planet, is indeed unhappy with these developments. The effects of this powerful wave of higher light is being felt by both the individual ego mind and the larger model of that, the planetary ego aspect that was created by those who once ruled without your participation or consent. You are seeing how their true forms and intentions are now being exposed to the world, in ways that even the most casual observer can no longer deny. And so, are you ready for the great change which you have clamored for so long? Are you cleaning out your closets, both inwardly and outwardly, releasing all that is no longer of the light, no longer for your higher good or the planet's, and not of a vibration that will match this new life you are creating? It is you who are ushering in this new earth, and new life you have cried out for. It is your light that the planet depends upon now, and not only her own. For you are being shown, in your increasing connection and open communication with your team of spirit guides, angelic guardians, and higher self, exactly what must go out of your life and what must now come in. Yes, this will involve your beautiful and fulfilling life purpose. It will involve how and when and why you eat or sleep or exercise. It will involve your connections to others, from those dearest to you to those you barely know. For when a planet and her beings evolve, as all of you are doing, everything changes. You would not dream of carrying large, heavy suitcases, holding outdated editions of very old texts to a new learning experience. You would come with open hands and heart, looking to accept what new learnings awaited you, glad to be free of the dogma and restrictions of past eras, and of your own past life. Show me what I need to learn, you would be saying, and indeed, you are saying this now. Every morning, awaken and ask your support team to show you the fifth dimensional way of everything, how to view others and yourself, your daily actions, your environment, and your world. With your new higher perspective will come new forms of understanding that will lead you to treat people and situations very differently from how you have in the past. You may have noticed already the increasing desire to release the need to control outcomes, or the need to be bothered by unexpected events and challenges in your day. You may notice the desire to no longer judge, to forgive as if nothing happened, to release the need to prefer people to be any way other than how they are now. All of this is the result of the ongoing surges of divine love now running through your entire system, all four energy bodies. And the miracles will only continue, affecting every part of your life and well-being. Yes, you are experiencing an energy tsunami, but it is one of higher love, as many have noted. So, as you hear that great lion roar, and the beloved Cecil is part of such, understand that you are taking your place in the intergalactic scheme of things, and that your heart-mind is accepting these new energies as a person dying of thirst accepts fresh water. And know that you are not abandoned to this process, not any part of it. We are here, and we are noting your astounding progress, and are sending energies at every moment to encourage you to continue releasing every process, every thought or emotional pattern, every expectation or outer form that belongs to the old third-dimensional Earth. For this base frequency now being established on Earth and in mass consciousness is opening the door wider and wider to events and developments in your world that could not have been dreamt of before now. So, stand strong, dear ones, and welcome this wave and all it brings. Allow yourself to feel the presence of your galactic and soul families, always close by and desiring more conscious communication with you. Open the door and call them in. They are waiting. Namaste, dear ones. You are never alone. It is my pleasure to be with you in these moments. I am Master Thoth of the unified whole command of the 144th dimension of light.